On today's show, the new Venom trailer shows massive amounts of face licking. Will you see the movie with MoviePass? Probably not. And Batman apparently has a pet. Is it a dog? Is it a wolf? Is her name Martha? Movie Talk starts right now.
Good one. Beatles reference, Martha. I know it was not a
BBS,
reference
to the Beatles, Martha.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Prudence. That is John Rocha. Over here is Jeff Sneider. I am Marc, Ellis, and this is Movie Talk at our new time that we debuted yesterday, 4 p.m. PST. Thank you to everybody who watched live, everybody that tuned in. It seems to be a successful debut so far, but the real question is not how I'm doing or how John Rocha is doing. He's a seasoned veteran of the new afternoon time. It's Jeff Sneider. It all comes down to you. You've been working hard all day in the office. You've been breaking scoops. Do you have the energy? Is this a good time slot for the Sneider?
Dude, this is so much better than having to wake up at 7 o'clock to get to Burbank by 9 a.m. I can't even tell you what this is going to do for the bags under my eyes.
Look at the energy. He's going to hate even more movies with even more fervor. And we are going to have some breaking news courtesy of Mr. Jeff Sneider a little bit later on in the show. That's why it's fun to do this in the afternoon. You just see all the news roll in, and it's like you're a fisherman. Here's what we caught today. And the first one is the scoop we literally got about 30 minutes ago, courtesy of Deadline. And that is it. The Sandlot, the classic movie that everybody except for the cold-hearted John Rocha knows is an all-time great sports flick, is apparently getting a prequel. This according to Fox, saying that they have in development a prequel to The Sandlot. It's going to focus on the backstory of the Beast, one of the most iconic characters from, in my opinion, one of the most iconic sports movies of the last 30 years. The Beast, it was James Earl Jones' dog, and it stole a lot of baseballs, and we ended up just being a cute old love hound by the end of the movie, but not before we got a great baseball adventure. So John Rocha, I pitch it to you.
You going to me first?
I am throwing the heater right down the middle at you. The chubby kid in the first movie's the catcher, and I'm using I'm using everything I got. I am throwing you cheese and saying, why is The Sandlot not an all-time great sports movie? And I want you to answer that quickly, because the big question, why would it, or should it, or would it not deserve a prequel?
Because I just don't find it. It's just it falls into that pit for me, like Goonies and all these other films. I just don't get it. I don't get why.
Another beloved classic.
Yeah, you can't call things that are cult classics all-time classic. Just kind of doesn't work that way, or else you just call it all-time classic. You don't create a division of the classic thing unless if it reaches the entire view of a classic. There's a reason they call it cult classic, because only certain people like it and a small amount of people like it, but they love it, so it's a cult classic.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to do something.
Yeah.
I want you to breathe in. I want you to breathe out. All right, now let's talk about the prequel. Can this thing do any business? Because look, Fox is about to be acquired by Disney. That's what all signs are pointing to. So it looks like maybe they're getting in the market for another family adventure kind of movie. The Sandlot did have 2 sequels that were both direct-to-home video, one of which starred who? You guessed it, kids. Luke Perry. Why would we have a prequel, and why do you think a prequel makes business sense if it does at all?
Well, I think it does make sense because of the history of the baseballs, right? If people love baseball so much, and that's a movie, baseball, that's a movie topic that people revisit all the time as showcasing America, the progression of America, a time when they loved America, Americana, that kind of stuff's always attached to baseball. And so I think that's a great, interesting way to go back in time. Are they going to de-age James Earl Jones? I look forward to that. What are they going to de-age the dog? Or what are they going to do with the dog? Like, what adventures is the dog going to get into? So, I mean, Perry Nemiroff can attest to this. If you use the dog as a central focal point to get into a movie, she's already in there, money paid. So those kinds of I think there's a lot of people, if you use pets, will go to the theater to go see these kinds of movies. Plus, and you're right. And this idea that who knows what famous ball players are going to show up and be played out. People love Field of Dreams. Why? Because Ray Liotta's playing Shoeless Joe Jackson. Why? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, we got a famous ball player, very famous ball player.
Not why people like Field of Dreams, by the way.
It's one of the reasons.
I think Ray Liotta is very good as Shoeless Joe Jackson. I think that people go to The Sandlot. One of the scenes that people remember about The Sandlot is when George Herman Roos shows up. You know, heroes get remembered, legends never die. But the big thing about The Sandlot, Jeff, is that it is this family adventure that people of all ages could enjoy, but it's about kids learning about interaction, learning about how to make friends. This one kid, he makes friends through the greatness that is the game of baseball. So is this movie going to even be released in theaters? Is it going to be direct to like a VOD situation? What do you see?
First of all, in response to John Rocha,
what I love is
you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls.
Look, the mic's in front of your mouth. You don't got to lean into it. Just talk into the mic.
Oh my God, this is a great movie. I love The Sandlot. I loved Wendy Peppercorn. Is that her name? Peppercorn? Who fucking knows?
Peppercorn.
Sorry,
Wendy Peppercorn. Yeah.
This is a great movie. I didn't see
great movie.
Yes,
okay,
that's right. Like the Mighty Ducks. Like
I'm looking
Little
at the AFI
Giants.
Top 100
in
to see where
terms
The
of
Sandlot
kids'
is.
movies.
In terms of a great movie, I don't see it listed.
You know, guys, we got a lot of stories.
Jesus Christ, Rocha. Do I think of this? Okay. I think that a prequel is a bad idea. Ooh. I think that baseball is a dying sport in America.
Oh,
and every sports writer in this country would agree with me on that. Nobody cares about baseball. There's no Derek Jeter or A-Rod coming around the corner, okay? Nobody can recognize baseball players anymore. I can barely name people on the Red Sox.
I would push back against that sentiment a little bit. I do agree that baseball is no longer America's past.
Kids don't care about it.
It's no longer its present, but the spirit of baseball, I think, is alive and well in sports movies. I think baseball is it's one of those sports that translates very easily to being made into a cinematic.
What was the last big baseball movie?
You have like 90 of them with Kevin Costner.
Yeah, but
the $1 million
recently,
arm that did very well for Disney a couple years ago, and that was a multicultural story. Which is my point. Is that
$1 Million Arm did not do well.
The original Sandlot was a nice movie because it took place in the early 60s. Yet you had kids from different races and ethnic backgrounds. They're all playing together. If you make a prequel to that movie, it just gets harder to do that and be anyone honest with the actual story of America.
Theatrical makes no sense for a Sandlot prequel. Here's what makes sense, and you did say the word, and the word is Disney. Because if Fox and Disney is happening, and this movie, because this movie hasn't even been written, this is way down the line. By the point that this movie is ready to go, I'm pretty sure Fox will be part of Disney. Does this movie make sense for the Disney streaming service, Mark? Yes, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
I think we probably could see it on the Disney streaming service. Now, something else that just came across our desk is that the Disney streaming service is set up for a lot of big originals, like what Jeff is saying. Maybe that's a Sandlot prequel, but also a live-action Lady and the Tramp movie that apparently Kiersey Clemons is now in talks to play a role in this movie. And
Did that
comes
just break?
as a report here from Variety that just got sent across the desk. So Kiersey Clemons is looking at Lady and the Tramp. Does this move the needle as far as maybe getting more subscriptions to the Disney streaming service?
It's a good question. I don't know if Kiersey's necessarily going to move the needle as powerfully as people would like, but I think the combination of her and who's playing the Tramp again?
Justin Theroux, yeah.
I think that's a great combo. So you want to see a live action version of this. And it's a very classic film with the spaghetti and the meatball and all of that going there. That's a great stuff.
So that's a classic.
That is a classic. Damn right it is. Not a cult classic. Millions of people saw that one.
Pretty iconic moment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Enough said there. Anyway, so I think it's a classic in this way, and seeing them work together will be fun to see that chemistry. And we'll see. I mean, this show lets you know what the DC streaming or what the Disney streaming service is going to be focused on and doing, and so it allows for more projects that will go straight to video. That might get a little higher quality approach to it, so we'll enjoy it on the streaming service.
And I'm not saying Ed, it is there. I'm just saying it makes a lot more sense for a place like the Disney streaming service than a theatrical Fox release, which would be crazy.
All right. One time I was on a date in college. I thought it'd be cute to, like, it was at the Olive Garden because I'm classy like that. Thought it'd be cute to roll a meatball with my nose over the plate. Doesn't work as well with humans. So just don't try that at home, kids, unless you're. I mean, I was already dating. She was my girlfriend at the time, so I played it off okay. But again, it's not a stunt I would attempt again. Just so
I don't share my spaghetti with anybody, Mark.
I don't imagine that you would, John Rocha.
Yeah, I'd like to push back a little bit on Jeff Sneider here. The Yankees and Braves are up 56% on their ratings this year. The Brewers up 44%, Indians and Twins 30%, Diamondbacks 28%, and the Reds 19%.
And you know who's
Increased
way
in
down?
ratings.
MoviePass and the Baltimore
Oh my
Orioles.
God.
Both of them. MoviePass is the one we're talking about today, though, because we talked about it a little bit through our live Twitter question segment yesterday, is that MoviePass made some announcements that came down from the head to help save part of their company and make cost-cutting measures that they estimate are going to save costs by 60%. But the measures they put into place, people aren't really fans of it anymore, especially when Mission Impossible Fallout came out and everybody wanted to go see it with their MoviePass. And they found out, oh, well, this is a premium movie. It's in the first couple weeks of release, so it's going to be very restricted as to what you're allowed to use with your MoviePass. First-run movies opening on the 1,000-plus screens are going to be limited in their availability during the first 2 weeks unless it's a special promotional basis. You know, for a huge movie like JEDI, implementation of additional tactics to prevent abuse of the MoviePass service. Here's the catch to me, is that in addition to the above, and these are all changes that MoviePass is making, MoviePass reiterated that it aims to gain revenue by other streams, including selling data from its subscribers to third parties.
Boom.
We always love that, don't we? And continued rollout and refinement of the peak pricing program. So basically, depending on what market you live in, they might charge you a little bit more. If you live in Los Angeles, we love movies here. There's a lot of movie theaters to go to. Maybe it costs more here than it does in the lovely city of Omaha, which I've been to many times. So Jeff Sneider, I think the big question on a lot of people's mouths right now is, if you subscribe to MoviePass, is it still worth it to pay the monthly fee? Is MoviePass still going to be around in 6 months? And is there any chance that these cost-cutting measures could actually win them new customers in some strange world?
First of all, it depends how often they're using the MoviePass. I can't tell someone whether it's worth it to pay for a pass with the increased price, because I don't know how much they're using it or where they're living too. Depending on what the price of a movie ticket is. I mean, so the price went up to $14.99, right? Mm-hmm. That's still less than the price of one movie ticket to AMC Century City, which is probably the closest major theater to where I live. So it still seems like a bargain to me. Again, I'm not a MoviePass subscriber. I think that these guys are the Keystone Cops. I think that we are literally watching a business figure out how to run itself in real time, and unfortunately, they figured it out way too late. But there's something very, very, very valuable about being something physical, like a MoviePass card, and being in 3 million wallets across America. Okay, to have a physical presence in someone's wallet, I think is not worth nothing. So I think that MoviePass can rebound, and it has to rebound by making these moves. They never should have been paying for opening weekend tickets. They never should have. That's crazy. The whole point of MoviePass is to encourage people to go to the movies, not to see the big giant blockbuster that comes out, but to see the other 13 movies at the multiplex.
That's a good point, Rocha.
Yep.
I mean, people, maybe they're looking at MoviePass as the way to see all these first-run summer blockbusters, when maybe the way that MoviePass should be utilized is by going to see smaller films that are playing on either less than 1,000 screens. But again, that model works very well in Los Angeles and in New York, maybe Chicago, Atlanta, markets like that. It doesn't work well everywhere.
Well, as a MoviePass subscriber, I've been
look at that.
for 2 years now.
It's in your wallet.
Yeah, it's in my wallet. I've been using it, to go see the smaller films, the independent films. When I got it, it was because my friend and I, we go to see films all the time, go in the middle of the afternoon, and you see those films you wouldn't normally see. I never got it so that I could see the blockbuster films. So I approached the usage of MoviePass completely differently. It gives me access to all these smaller films I might skip or wait for video but I'll go see it in the theater now because I'm only paying $10. And I joined when it was $35 and then increased to $45. So when it dropped to $15 or to $10, I was completely shocked and worried if it was going to keep going, because I enjoyed the fact that I was getting access to see all these independent filmmakers, these other smaller films in the theater, and enjoying that process, and going to smaller theaters, discovering like the Lemley NoHo 7, discovering that theater to see these films at.
Great theater.
Yeah, it's a great theater, and I would have probably never gone to see something big there, because I'll go to the Grover ArcLight instead, or the Grauman's Chinese, like those kinds of things. So to me, this is what the MoviePass is for. Now, Mark, you make a great point. Because I have access to so many movie theaters in Los Angeles, other people in other towns may not have that kind of access and may only want to see the big blockbusters, and they're not as huge film lovers as some of us are, so they're not going to be inspired to go see these smaller independent films because they have MoviePass.
Yeah, but it's how much do you trust the company at this point? Like, I bought a Ford Fusion the week that it came out that they recalled a bunch of Ford Fusions because there was just like some little screw that they had to tighten up, and so I couldn't get my car right away. But it gave me a little bit of hesitation. Like, wait, you're figuring this stuff out on the fly? This is like a recall in the automotive automotive industry, because it's like they're figuring out their business model as it evolves, and they've had chances to do this. They were a sponsor of the Schmoes show back in phase 3 in like 2013 when they were still in beta testing. Then they came out, then they went away, and nobody heard from them for months.
Right.
And then they came back in a big way, and that's the MoviePass that we all know and love. I like the deal as I'm looking at it, and I'm even a guy that's like, look, if you're going to sell my info to a third party, I'll give them my old Hotmail address, and then I'll just get all my junk mail there, okay? That's okay with me to a certain extent. But if it's this public, Jeff, doesn't that look bad on your business, to the fact where that's a card in your wallet that could be a card like your Visa, but it also could be a card in your wallet like a Blockbuster or like a Discover card where you no longer really want to use it?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I think that the fact that MoviePass is out there in the ether doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing like you propose.
I just think that the companies, from a PR point of view, has been disastrous, and they keep changing the rules on the fly, and all these changes you're confusing the consumer, you're confusing the customer. I think what MoviePass really needs to do is get rid of surge pricing. That seems to be the chief complaint, and I've seen surge prices that are higher than the ticket price. And people, it's been so stupid on Twitter. People are like, "Oh my God, the surge price is higher than the ticket price." Guys, you don't have to use MoviePass.
Yeah.
Just go buy a ticket at the box office without using the MoviePass card. Like, that is still an option. I don't like, people don't seem to understand.
People just hate hidden charges. Like it's still cheaper if you're paying $15 and then you have to pay an extra $8 to go see Mission Impossible. Like, on the whole,
hidden charges,
you're still probably saving money, but people hate hidden charges. They hate getting nickel and dime.
Which is why they got to get rid of the surge
But it's
price.
not a hidden charge because it says it right there. The lightning bolt tells
you
you
can
on
either
the app
agree
that you
or
can
not to
agree
pay
or
for
not
it.
to agree.
But
It's not like you pay. You go, wait a minute, why are you overcharging me at the end of the month for this? No, you know, and you think the thing is, it's still $15 or $10.
Don't you have to already be at the theater to like figure out?
No. I've used the app. They put a lightning bolt right next to the show times that are surge pricing show times. You click on it and it tells you what the surge price is, so you know before you even leave your damn house. So
got to ask you the hard hitting question now.
Sure.
I got to really put your feet to the fire here.
Yeah.
Why you still have the physical card if you got the app?
You have both, because you have to check in on the app and then use the card to buy the ticket. You can do the ticket.
That's too hard.
It's only recently
difficult,
but it's
so
only
needlessly complicated.
It's only for you lazy asses. It's for me. It's recently e-ticketing is you can do e-ticketing, but to me that's so lazy. It's 2 freaking steps. Work hard in this country. What is wrong with you? You
I'm going to the movies. The whole point is to not
be those
work
fat
hard.
people.
I just want to go to the movies and hit the button and say I want to see the movie at this time, and I'll pay whatever it costs.
God forbid you use intelligence instead of being a mongoloid. Give me ticket. What's wrong with you, man?
Nothing makes me happier on this show than watching 2 people who agree in principle with a topic and getting them to yell at each other. I mean, that really is what it's all about here, kids. So if MoviePass can't unite us, I think I have the answer, and that would be pets. We all love pets. Everybody, we love having pets. They make the world go round. And I'll be honest with you guys. I'm the co-parent of a dog named Molly, and she's just the greatest part of my life. We know that Perry has an affinity for Dewey, and now it appears that some of the Justice League also love their pets, so much so that we're gonna have a new movie called, you guessed it, Super Pets. This is going to be directed by the writer of the Lego Batman movie and the Lego Ninjago movie. That is Jared Stern, according to Warner Brothers. And this story was broken by our own Jeff Sneider today. So Jeff, tell me, I'm looking at a lot of pets' names here, and I love that I'm about to say this sentence. It's unclear whether Jared Stern will use DC's Legion of Super Pets as the basis for the script, or whether he'll create new characters, because apparently you have Crypto the super dog, Streaky the super cat. Of course, they're owned by superheroes, so one would surmise that they also have superpowers. Is that how you're taking this hard-hitting story, Mr. Sneider?
Guys, I've spent all day researching the super pets. I have no idea what these super pets do. I don't know what makes them super. I don't know if they fight crime. Frankly, I couldn't bear to spend another second researching this. I am not going to be seeing this movie. I am not the target audience, but Jared Stern has a big animation presence on that lot. He wrote the Lego Batman movie. He wrote the Lego Ninjago movie, Ninjago movie, whatever the hell it's called. I didn't see that one either. He executive produced. I'm sure it was just wonderful.
It's funny.
He executive produced Storks. He's executive producing Smallfoot. So they're entrusting him to do the Super Pets movie. I like the premise, and I think the kids will go see it. I think that you can make this movie super cheap, the kind of way that they just did with the Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which only cost $10 million and made $10.5 8.5, and I know that wasn't seen as a good opening weekend, but I think that Teen Titans Go to the Movies will eventually turn a profit for them, and that's all they're looking for out of something like this.
I think Teen Titans could eventually turn a big profit for them because I actually saw the movie and it's really good. It's really funny. It's got a lot of humor in there for adults. It's not on the level of Lego Batman, but it's close as to really mining some of the comic book lore to get jokes, and a lot of the comic book movie thing. Like they take a lot of shots at Marvel. They take shots at DC. I'm not saying Super Pets is going to do that, but I'm saying that Super Pets is a model because you look at how expensive the Lego movies are to make. That animation and that style costs a lot more to sink into than the Teen Titans movie did. And Lego Batman critically loved. Every fan that saw it, I think, was a big enthusiast for it. But Rocha, the movie did not get the box office receipts that they thought it might here or internationally. So you think maybe this is the smarter move going forward for a Warner Brothers animated project?
I do. I enjoy this as an idea, and I love that they got the right person involved in it to bring some joy and fun out of it, making fun of the subject without insulting it. That's a really tough line to walk, and Lego did a nice job with that in both of those movies. I'm not the biggest fan of Ninjago, but I love Lego Batman. It's a cult classic. And I think what's great about it, what I want to see here from the Super Pets movie is just fun enjoyment along the lines of Teen Titans Go at the movies. Unfortunately, Mark, I don't agree with you. I think it's going to go the Scott Pilgrim route where everybody who went to see it loved it, but it didn't grab the public's attention for people to go enough to the movie theater to give it its money and maybe have it turn a profit as highly as they would like it to turn. Unfortunately, people love Teen Titans Go, though. The reviews have been great, but the box office, I think when you start it where you started it, I don't think it's going to go up.
But this is like the animated version of the Blumhouse model, right? Where it's like you make movies on the cheap and you know that you have a built-in audience for it. Do you see any way that this movie could be made for a broad audience appeal like the Lego movie was? Because the Lego movie, when we all first heard about it, we're like, oh, that's going to be a kid's movie. How do you make a movie out of Legos? They made a worldwide phenomenon. Regardless of what you want to say about the receipts of the Ninjago movie or Batman or how much Jeff Sneider hates putting Legos together, a lot of adults love the Lego movies. So is there a chance that we could get the same thing with Super Pets? I don't see it. I see this as something that is clearly marketed to kids who are the age range that they market Hotel Transylvania to and younger. You say different.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. There's a possibility. I think it all depends on the script. If the script's going to be playful with some adult jokes, I think people will go to see it just because they enjoy these DC superheroes so much, and to see the pets all dressed up. Look at that. It's a fish Joker. That's fantastic. I mean, those kinds of things are funny.
Fish Joker.
I mean, come on.
Get this.
Don't want to
In
see
the
a fish
Legion of
Joker?
Super Pets, Aquaman, you know what kind of pet he has? He's got a seahorse.
A seahorse named Storm. That's right.
You knew his name. All right.
Of course. Well, I mean, back when we were reading comic books and kids, like these were like offshoots that you enjoyed. And don't discount this because look at the Spider-Ham reaction in Hall H when it appeared in the trailer for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. People lost their minds because they know and they love Peter Porker, Spider-Ham, and so to see there's just a certain attraction people have for pets and superheroes.
They enjoy the joke. I don't know that they're going to be shelling out $15 plus whatever MoviePass surcharge gets added opening weekend to see the movie. I don't see that appeal, and I think it really does come down to the style of animation.
I think that you can sell toys with this. This is a good idea. Like I'm not going to see it personally, but I cannot blame Warner Brothers for moving forward with this idea. I think if they hired the right guy with Jared Stern, just being able to say, come see an adventure with Superman's dog and Batman's cow or Wonder Woman's whatever the hell she has, I think we'll get enough kids interested. And people, adults love pets. They love dogs.
And this is the route they're going, man. I mean, the Shazam is a playful, big type movie. Wonder Woman is going to be fun 80s movie.
Look at how Secret Life of Pets, the Secret Lives of Pets or whatever, the Illumination movie performed. That was a huge movie. If this movie can do a fraction of that, I think Warner Brothers would be happy. So
if you get the right voices, I think it's possible.
Yeah, some cool voices, and you just got to keep the cost down, and this is kind of a no-brainer. So.
All right, Super Pets. Thank you, Jeff Sneider, for breaking that story today and allowing us to talk about it in the same calendar, 24 hours. It's always good news around here. Coming up later on the show, we're going to be talking about that new Venom trailer where he did a lot of licking. Blumhouse has a new project, and a very famous comic could join the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. But first, here's a quick reminder about the Collider Town Hall tomorrow. Take it away, Christian.
I mean, airplane food, it's terrible, am I right? Nah, I'm not doing stand-up. And by the way, that's better than Rocha's. I'm kidding. It's time for our second ever Town Hall. Town Hall is coming up, and we're going to answer a bunch of questions from you guys. It's coming up this Wednesday, 10 a.m. PST. We'll be having a rotating panel. We're going to start out, it'll be myself, Marc Fernandez. Ellis will be hosting. You'll see Dennis Zen, Thad, people from Heroes, a bunch of things happening on Wednesday, 10 a.m. PST, the second ever Collider Town Hall. Get those questions in
Don't
do our
talk
best
shit about baseball, bitch.
Thank you, Christian. And as we get back to the news desk with hot mics included, Jeff Sneider with a great question during Christian's tease about the Collider Town Hall tomorrow is, does he have to be here? I don't think you have to be on camera, but you did say what?
I'm part of the town.
You are
I mean,
part of
that's
the
right.
town. You're
That's
an
right.
esteemed member of the town. So I would say that if you are an esteemed member of the town, like everybody out there watching live, if you're watching this tomorrow morning, whenever you're checking this out, you are also an esteemed villager that we love having here in the Colliderverse. So you can participate, and I'm moderating it, which means that I get to look at my computer during the live stream. It's going to be live. You get to see all the questions that pop up, and I'm going to be asking some of those to the Collider breast. So make your voice heard. Jeff, you want to come in the studio, make your voice heard?
I'll tune in to see if I still have a job.
Okay. Well, yeah,
God.
then you might want to not watch past 10:15. Anyway, 10 a.m.
You got to pay me for the full day.
PST tomorrow. That's a man that's been fired a lot, and he knows how to get his money's worth.
Breaking news.
Somebody that we're not sure how their movie is going to perform is Tom Hardy's Venom. The movie was announced, and fans went gaga, and it's in the Sonyverse. We're not sure how it's related to Spider-Man or even Peter Porker, but we do know that Venom had a new trailer drop this morning. It's an extended look at the movie that drops in early October. So, John Rocha, I'm going to go to you first on this one. We saw a lot of Venom, and I actually got exhausted just watching this trailer.
Wow.
I think the movie looks interesting. I don't see the pop that I thought I would from a Venom movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I was expecting a pop. So, but I understand your point of view. Like a lot of people wanted to jump out and really get. But Venom is a quietly evil character that can go either way if you read in the comics. So for me, the movie's got to reflect that. And I think the movie does. The extra footage that they showed in Hall H was really great to see as well. And the trailer was different. There was more with Mrs. Chang. There was like a beginning with Mrs. Chang. So that button at the end of this trailer makes sense. And so that's funny. He's listening to a self-help CD. So he's a guy going through a lot. And Venom comes in at his life at a time in his life when Eddie is like, is losing his relationship. He's a low-level reporter. Not a lot's going on with his life. So this thing comes in, kind of takes him over and tries to like build him back up. And the struggle is, do I let this take over, or do I fight back against this and try to control it as much as possible? I've seen comparisons online about Upgrade. It's not, I get it, but it's a really simple comparison to what's actually happening here. There's way more involved with what's going on for Eddie Brock, the character, personally. And what you see in the trailer is that. Plus, you get Riz Ahmed as Riot, and I still will say this: that girl jumping out of there with the red lights, that's Carnage. That's going to show up, in my opinion, in this movie. And so there's a lot happening here within the trailer that I enjoyed thoroughly, and I want to see what they do, and I want to give Tom Hardy a chance. And I know the voice is weird. The voice is weird. I know, but overall,
pretty good.
I do like the animation. I saw JT say it looks like Spawn animation. Get out of here. It's not even close to that.
He's a little slimy and sticky, and but
and he liked the Meg. So what are we going to say about him? So,
we got to see the Meg last night. More on that when we're allowed to talk about it.
Right.
Jeff Sneider, you're a high-level reporter with a lot going on, so you don't really relate to Eddie Brock on that level. Have you ever been approached by a symbiote suit? How would you react? Would it be in a situation such as this?
I have a parasite, so
There you go.
Hey,
There you go.
Listen, I've been pretty positive about Venom. I really like the casting, the way it came together with Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and Riz, and Woody Harrelson too. Even the first teaser, I think I responded pretty positively. This movie looks like a turd blowing in the wind, my friend.
Whoa! I didn't know turds could do that.
Yes. I mean, the cast intrigues me. The fact that it's R-rated intrigues me, but I've heard that this movie has serious problems. I've heard it underwent massive reshoots last month that Tom Hardy largely oversaw, which is always a cause for concern. Yeah, that's right. Breaking that.
So wait, he came in and he was like directing the reshoots?
I'm just saying Tom Hardy, being a star of his magnitude, has a certain level of creative control and influence on that set.
Wow.
And I don't think he was shy about yielding it.
Is that because, and again, this is just asking both you guys to speculate now at this point, but it's like, does Tom Hardy come in and want to direct reshoots because he's concerned about the film, the way the character is portrayed, or is he just trying to cover his own ass because he's a star of the movie?
I think either way works. And with Edward Norton doing it in American History X, that was a positive result. So it doesn't necessarily make it a negative that Tom Hardy came in and directed these scenes.
That's
and
fair.
also,
Same with the reshoots.
Exactly.
Same with
Where
the
are we on reshoots? You can't use that as an excuse if you can defend it later. Because look, there's all these reshoots on Predator. Should we expect it to suck? I think it's going to, but that isn't because of the reshoots. There's other reasons. So, but other reshoots, like with Rogue One, really worked out. So these kinds of things are possible. But I know there's trepidation all around. There have been people who haven't liked each one of these trailers loudly on social media. So what does that mean? all I can tell you is I sat in that and I enjoyed the footage, and I want to give it a chance. I want to see if it'll do what it's supposed to do. If I walk in with my arms folded, expecting to hate it, how am I going to walk out of it?
I'm going to go in with an open mind because, like you said, I do want to give this cast the benefit of the doubt, and I do like the character and the fact that it's a darker superhero movie, even though he's not a superhero. I like that it's R-rated, but again, I just haven't heard good things, and this second trailer was not encouraging at all. I do think that the animation looks bad. It looks like Spawn.
Can I throw one last thing in? Tom Hardy was also in charge of Taboo, and that series on FX was incredible. Hard
to understand what they were saying a lot of the time.
I couldn't make it through Taboo.
I'm sorry, guys.
I just reshoots don't indicate it's like a bad word, but the reshoots are just supposed to make a movie better. So I'm glad that if Sony is doing massive reshoots, it means they think that this movie can be saved. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep pumping money into it. But again, despite the confidence that they may be sounding off in public, I hear that internally they're a little nervous.
No, I mean, I hear reshoots, and I'm like, okay, well, that's par for the course, especially with a movie like this that Sony's putting a lot of care into, and they have the budget to do so with this particular property, because this could be launching more movies in their Sonyverse, or it could mean the death of more movies in their own Sonyverse. But having Tom Hardy come in and be the one that oversees it, that would give me a little bit of pause. This is a trailer, though, that's going to be used for marketing the film. So from a marketing perspective, do you guys see this trailer adding in more people and getting them interested to see Venom? Because I don't. I see hardcore fans who know the comic book lore wanting to go see Eddie Brock on opening weekend, and I don't see a lot of other interest just judging from this trailer.
Mark, that's a great point. You don't walk away from this trailer being excited to jump into the theater and go see it.
I want to be.
It's good. Yeah, I know, and I understand that, but I think we're looking at lower end of the spectrum in terms of box office for this, because I think it's a darker, R-rated, more emotionally draining film. It's not going to be this uplifting thing, and so naturally, plus it's a villain that they're kind of walking the line with. It's an anti-hero possibly that they're walking the line with. So to me,
I didn't mean to interrupt, but to me, I just don't know if Tom Hardy's a draw.
Right.
Like, outside of certain properties or whatever, I'm nervous. I think it's going to be competitive fall too. Trailer underwhelmed.
Yeah, October 5th, and if you're looking, because they're styling this movie as a comic book movie, sure, but also something that has horror undertones, and there's other horror movies that by the time October rolls around, people are going to want to go see.
What does it open against? Do you know?
It opens on October 5th, and it actually opens against a.
Is First Man that day?
First Man.
I'm not sure.
Almost there. You guys talk about something for a second.
Well, do you not like this image? Does it look like terrible anime? I mean, that's what Venom looks like in the comics. I thought it was really well done. Look at that. It's scary, isn't it? A guy that size? The licking of the tongue thing, that I understand. That's a little weird.
For me, it was the dialogue. It was just listening to him speak as Venom. And again, that last part where he pulls half of Venom's face off to reveal his own. I don't know. It just looks
it's nice.
stupid.
Okay.
Way to buy me some time. It comes out against The Star Is Born. So, it's. I think First Man is the next weekend. So I think it's got a shot at an opening weekend, but I think it could be a pretty steep decline unless you get positive word of mouth. That's what it's all about. Let's see what happens that week when it comes out. What are we buzzing about? Is it going to be Venom, or is it going to be his slimy suit and that voice? What's that sound like, Rocha?
Hello, Marcus.
Okay, that's enough of that. Well, our next story is one that's about another comic book movie that people have a lot of question marks around, and that would be the Joker movie. Not the one with Jared Leto. He's going to be in Suicide Squad, maybe Birds of Prey. We don't know. We know that there is an independent Joker movie that's directed by Todd Phillips from The Hangover, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix, and Robert De Niro is also going to be a member of the cast. Now, Robert De Niro is playing a talk show host in this universe, and maybe he has that crazy Joker on the show. The reason why he would do that is because of the agent for Robert De Niro. That role is being circled by comedian Marc Maron. Marc Maron, you guys probably know from his popular podcast, WTF. He's great on the Netflix hit series Glow, and he's a great comic. He's one of the best I've ever seen, and I think that this is a great role for Marc Maron to be playing an agent for De Niro's character in this universe. It seems very similar to what he does do on Glow and who he is when you listen to him podcast or you see him do stand-up. Marc Maron, before I actually got to know him a little bit, I was just a fan of him, and I think that this role is something that he can knock out of the park John Rocha, what
Yeah.
say you?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I like Marc. He's one of the people that inspired me to get into podcasting because I enjoyed listening to his episodes so much. Plus the story of him too. Like he knew he was a jerk. He was an angry kind of a dick, for lack of a better term, to a lot of people in the comic world. And then he went through this very deep, exploration of himself, came out the other side, and he created all this success. He's great on Glow. My God, some of the best moments are him and Alison Brie in that show. And of course, Betty Gilpin as well. But and his show, his FX show is great. Like, so honest. I would push Louis to the side and tell you to watch Maron instead. I know people were massive fans of Louis. Maron is better. So to see him sliding into this role is fun. I like this idea. Plus, we get De Niro. This is all shaping up very interesting to me. I'm liking this cast. Jeff was telling me Brian Callen is now part of this cast. So all of this just gets me excited that it's got the right people involved to have a good, interesting one-off type film.
Well, I could have told you Brian Callen was going to be in the movie because Todd Phillips is directing it.
True, right.
And Brian, he used Brian in a lot of his movies, and Brian's a really funny comic too. Jeff Sneider, do you think the casting of Marc Maron is going to add clout to the movie? Do you think it adds a good presence as the agent to De Niro's character? It's as much Maron's casting as it is the fact that De Niro has this agent who's going to be playing a pivotal role in getting the Joker on the show. That's very intriguing to me.
I think this is great casting. I don't know if he adds any clout. I don't know if one single person will buy a ticket to this movie that wasn't going to before, outside of maybe Marc Maron's family. But I think that
Pretty popular podcast. People love him.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're going to go to see a Joker movie that they weren't otherwise inclined to go see just because Marc Maron is in it. So that's just in terms of the clout thing. I don't mean to get off on the wrong foot here. This is awesome news. I love Marc Maron. I love him on Glow. The idea of him, he's going to be playing the booking agent for De Niro's talk show. So he's the guy who brings Joaquin Phoenix on De Niro's show. I love the way that this cast is shaping up. With not just with De Niro and Joaquin and Marc Maron. By the way, they got the wrong Marc at the Comedy Store. You would have crushed this role, Ellis.
I would have been horrible in this role, as with most roles. But
Zazie Beetz,
Zazie Beetz also in the movie as well.
Francis Conroy. So and there's a whole lot of other roles that will still be cast, including I believe Thomas Wayne. So we'll see. But Todd Phillips is getting some good names for a $55 million comic book movie.
Okay, where does this movie now rank as far as, and look, the addition of Marc Maron, it's big news to some of us, maybe not as much to other people, but where does this movie lie in your most anticipated
I'll
movies
field this
in the
one
DC
first.
universe?
Sure. I'll field this one. You ready?
Yeah. Number one.
Okay.
Number one.
Wow.
Over Aquaman, over Wonder Woman 1984, over...
I got Batman socks on right now, okay? I love Batman. He's the best superhero by far. And the reason is his rogues gallery of villains led by the Joker. The fact that Joker's getting his own movie. I'm pumped for this movie. Can't wait to see it.
John Rocha.
I'm sitting next to an insane person.
What kind of socks or underoos are you wearing today?
I don't wear socks, son. Listen, here's what I tell you. Yeah.
Socks for the week.
Come on, man.
You don't wear
my feet are clean.
So Nikes.
Look, here's what I tell you.
Socks.
Yeah, it's gross.
Here's what I tell you.
Your feet stink.
That's inappropriate talk. No, here's what I tell you. This is not in the number one slot, but what it does do, it get me excited. It feels like Logan, this kind of like one-off on its own type of film that's going to be a little bit darker, explore more of the human stuff going on here. And I don't know how this all plays out because the talk show host and all this stuff is what you see in Dark Knight Returns, the scene with Dr. Wolpert, and you see all that. You don't see it in Batman Year One. You don't see it in any of these other iterations or in the Azzarello Joker one-off as well, the story, which is great, that I thought they were using this as a basis. But either way, I'm excited for this film. I'm excited.
What is your number one, then? What are you more excited to see out of DC than a Joker movie?
Right now, Shazam. Yeah.
Okay. You're going Shazam?
Oh, yeah.
And again, like
Because there's not
Aquaman,
three.
Wonder Woman
You know why?
1984, I'm
Because there's
excited
not
about.
three Shazams, Jeff. There's one Shazam.
All right, so it's a new,
not
it's a
Jared
new
Leto,
character,
not
is what you're
Joaquin
saying. You're
Phoenix.
excited to see a new character.
Exactly.
That's what
And-
you
and
feel like
'cause I love
been
Shazam
there,
to
done that.
pieces,
With
yeah.
Joker.
Okay, I have
That's fair.
issues with both gentlemen to my left currently. First of all, Rocha, Logan is a movie that takes place in the future. It's a little dystopian. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. Logan's kind of down and out. He's the limo driver. He's dealing with possibly the end of his existence as he knows it, and he still wears socks. Jeff Sneider, you, on the other hand, you're a big Batman fan, you say?
I love Batman.
Okay. Name Batman's dog's name. That's what I thought. He's a fraud.
You're a fraud.
We are going to take your live Twitter questions at the end of this show. He also has a back cow in case you want to pull that one too. You guys can tweet us at Collider Video, at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Our last story is about a classic TV show, which is interesting because yesterday we had a live Twitter question based on Mission Impossible success. What other TV show from way back would you like to see turned into a movie franchise? We got our wish. From 1977 to 1984, you heard "Da Plane a lot because of Fantasy Island. It starred Ricardo Montalban as a mysterious doctor who had an island where rich visitors could come and live out their wildest fantasies, whatever the hell they were. And so now Blumhouse is going to be adapting Fantasy Island into a movie. This is very exciting stuff because it is Blumhouse involved. It's Blumhouse and Sony Pictures. And Sneider, I see this as something that's it's like an Island of Dr. Moreau, but we're taking out the experiments and we're just putting in crazy things that could happen to people. Do you see potential for Fantasy Island at the movies?
I mean, I guess if they're going to keep again, when you say potential, in terms of what? In terms of box office?
You can take that question
I think if they're going to keep the budget to $5 million, a Fantasy Island movie, again, depending on casting, can make its budget back. Blumhouse, I think they cleared $100 million with Truth or Dare, which, but Jeff Wadlow, let's not get carried away. Jeff Wadlow's a bad director.
That's right. Jeff Wadlow's the director of this movie. He did Kick-Ass 2.
And
he did
Cry
Truth or
Wolf,
Dare.
or he wrote that. I don't know what he's done. Whatever he's done, it's been bad. Believe me. So I'm not terribly excited about Fantasy Island. I think that I'm imagining this as like a Westworld type of thing where like Fantasy Island people are just going to live out their fantasies. I don't know what else it could be about. I'm guessing the fantasies turn dark.
Yeah, and when I say a term like potential, I'm like the doctor in Fantasy Island. You can take that question any way you want.
Kids play Truth or Dare. That's why Truth or Dare makes $100 million. Like, kids don't know what Fantasy Island is. I don't think my dad's going to see a $5 million Blumhouse Fantasy Island movie, even though he watched the show when it was on. This does nothing for me.
The Wadlow news is interesting because, like again, he worked with Blumhouse on Truth or Dare, but that's a horror movie. I see a Fantasy Island movie based on the TV show very loosely. I see maybe a "Da Plane" joke in there somewhere, but I also see this as being a horror premise. Rocha, do you see it any differently?
No, yeah, I think it'll have a horror twinge to it. I can't imagine that it wouldn't because Blumhouse is involved and Wadlow. And look, I would see Truth or Dare with Perry. That I was not a big fan of that movie, but Kick-Ass 2 I think had real potential to be a good movie. I think Jim Carrey forced him to go back and cut some stuff out, ruined the rhythm of that movie. And I think Wadlow, I don't want to judge Wadlow just yet because he did write Kick-Ass 2. He's worked on The Strain. He's worked on other things that I kind of enjoy. And he's a consulting producer on Bates Motel. So there is a resume here of some note. And so my jury's still out on him. I did not like Truth or Dare, but there were some genuinely decent scenes in that movie. So he can create some. My thing is this, when in my early days as an actor, I auditioned for both of these roles. I didn't get them, but I liked the series. I enjoyed the series. So I want to see what he's going to do with it because what would be interesting, because what was the basic premise of Fantasy Island was you got your fantasy, but it always had something else underneath that was the cost for that fantasy that you didn't anticipate
a little bit
when
of
you got your
moral
fantasy.
lesson.
Exactly. So that could be the horror aspect of it all. Like, when you make a deal with the devil, you sell your soul, but then you become a paraplegic for the rest of your life. So you can live for the rest of your life, but you become a paraplegic. Those kinds of tricks that they can do sometimes. So I could see some of that in Fantasy Island in the horror, if they do a horror side of it.
Okay, take this question and try to keep it as PG-13 as you gentlemen possibly can. Sure. I'm Dr. Rourke. Here's my island. What do you want to do on it?
I want to finally beat the Patriots for the tag team titles once and for all in my fantasy.
Took this right to Schmodown? Okay.
I was going to say I just want to slam dunk one time, but if I can slam dunk over John Rocha, even better fantasy.
Hey, that is a fantasy, nice. A big fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, I would I think we got a trampoline in the back. I don't have a big budget for my island. I got a Blumhouse budget. I don't have the whole island.
It's interesting, Marc. I did hear recently, and I don't know if there's any truth to this because Blumhouse does have the 10-year deal with Universal, which is still very much in effect. But I heard that you may see more of these Blumhouse Sony announcements. Heard that Blumhouse may be producing a string of low-budget movies for Sony. I don't have any confirmation on that. This could just be a one-off because I don't know if he's produced a Sony movie before. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that he's already so prolific as a producer. He has his hands in 18 million different pots. I couldn't fathom that he has time to make a string of movies for Sony. And then lo and behold, this announcement came out. So
I think there's a world where we see a Blumhouse channel or a Blumhouse streaming service in the next 10 years.
that's a great idea.
Jason Blum is so driven and so smart,
so
and
much stuff.
and when he speaks at these Q&As, my man is on top of
And
stuff.
and obviously
see this.
they made their nuts so far on horror, but they have
They're
their
expanding.
tentacles in a lot of other things. It's not just a horror company anymore.
Jason's done real good stuff. Jason was involved, I think, in Whiplash,
Yeah.
right? And what was the one last year? The awards contest. I mean, he's involved with Sharp Objects.
Yep.
He was involved with A Normal Heart on HBO. So he has a whole bunch of different passions. He's not just a horror guy.
And it's really easy to tell when you go see a Blumhouse movie if it's going to be horror or not, because they do the extended roll when it's a Blumhouse horror movie. If it's just a Blumhouse movie or Blumhouse Tilt, it just comes on and says Tilt. But the extended roll they do, how every production company has like the, Magnolia Pictures and it's like a tree. Blumhouse has this like creepy room with all these scary things.
Yeah.
There's like the Blair Witch is like pacing back and forth.
Right.
It's the best pre-roll I've seen from any production company.
Agreed.
It beats the TriStar Unicorn. Is she a unicorn or is she just a flying horse? It's a Pegasus. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. All right. We're going to take your live Twitter questions in a minute. I am going to remind you guys of a couple things, though. Obviously, we have the town hall tomorrow, which we're very excited about. That's at 10 a.m. PST. And then the Riley Roundtable. It's a podcast. And by the way, we're talking about podcasts. That one's hosted by Marc Riley. He talks about a lot of different things, not necessarily just limited to movies. So check that out on Podcast One and Apple Podcasts. That's on Collider Factory. That's one of the podcast channels you can subscribe to. You get a lot of new, interesting shows. You can see what you enjoy. You can also check out Collider Movie Talk, this program that you're watching on the toilet right now, as a podcast. That is the Collider Movie Talk feed. You get Movie Talk, you get Mailbag, you get a whole lot of other stuff, including Afterthoughts with Ryan and Jay. They talk about the week that was at Collider, and they're always very honest. Jeff Sneider, you have something, or you...
No.
All right. You just looked like you wanted to talk.
I do.
So I'm going to give both you guys the
I'm
floor.
waiting for those Twitter questions. Bring it, guys.
It's been brought today.
Also-
it has been brought.
On the Collider Factory feed also, today's the first installment of Collider Body Slam Raw recap, where we're doing the Ryan Satin on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. So if you want to cover that, there you go. Look at that. Boom. We do Raw recaps, and we're
Wow.
doing SmackDown recaps. So you have one today for Raw and tomorrow for SmackDown. So
I don't have anything to plug, Mark.
Yeah, no, that's Rocha having a conversation with Adam that I wasn't privy to. You gave him the title card and everything.
Thank
Man,
you, Adam.
You sneaky SOB. Congrats on the wrestling show. I hear it's very good if you're a wrestling fan. And now we move on to live Twitter questions. Our first one comes from Brian Goforth. I don't know if that's his real last name, but I like it. Brian, go forth and prosper. And he says, since you opened the show with the Sandlot news, what are your all-time top 3 sports movies?
Ooh.
Top 3 is tough.
Okay.
If you can give me your favorite sports movie, for Brian, he says The Bad News Bears, Kingpin, and Caddyshack.
What is
so he
wrong with
likes
you?
comedy with his sports. He loves the new time slot, and he says, tell the Sneider that he owes $1 to the swear jar. Trust me, we need to get a bigger swear jar. Our swear jar is like the Orca. All right, so your favorite sports movie of all time?
Man, this is a tough question. There's so many good ones.
You really
Are
don't
you?
have
No, the
three?
only reason he's stalling is because he doesn't want to say a baseball one.
Right.
No, I mean, I gotta go the Mighty Ducks. I love the Mighty Ducks so much.
Okay. First one.
Yeah.
First Mighty Ducks.
What am I working with here? Listen, I host a top 10 show, so let me tell you what the top 3 sports movies are. They are Hoosier,
Yeah, Hoosiers
Raging
is
Bull.
great.
What?
Hoosiers is great.
Hoosiers is great.
Yeah, it's
Raging
okay.
Bull and Field of Dreams. Those are the top 3 sports movies, and they can't be beat.
Karate Kid is fantastic.
Karate Kid's Miracle is
I
great.
love
The
Any
hockey
Given
one.
Sunday.
Oh, what? No!
That's right.
Where a guy loses his eyeball on the field.
That's right.
Okay. I'm gonna harken back to something that Jeff Sneider had said when he goes to Fantasy Island. He wants to dunk. That reminds me of a movie that I think is my favorite sports movie of all time. White Men Can't Jump.
there
It's
you go.
such a great movie.
Yep.
It is one of my all-time favorite films. I do love The Sandlot. I have that way up there. Field of Dreams, way up there for me. Again, there's just something about men of a certain age watching another man of a certain age playing catch with their dead dad that is just going to get you inside. So check out Field of Dreams. And if you haven't seen it, the ending is catch with his dead dad. All right, move on to the next question, and that is going to be
so
from
many.
Nick Leitner. He says, your favorite Tom Hardy movie or performance?
Damn. That's a
do you
good
got?
question.
What do you got?
can I look? Am I allowed to
Yeah,
look?
You're not allowed to look. This is you guys. You guys do this as a damn near a profession.
right.
You guys are schmodown
Damn near a
favorites.
Oh, okay. I know what it is then for me.
Name
It's,
a Tom Hardy
Warrior.
movie.
Warrior was my number one movie
It's a good
the
sports
year
movie,
that it
too.
came out. Oh, it's amazing.
Okay.
Tom Hardy's fantastic in it. I mean, he's great in Locke too, where it's just him in a car, like to do that for 90
I was
minutes
gonna say Locke
and
is
hold the
pretty
screen, but it has to be Warrior for me.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, I have to agree with him. Warrior is incredible.
You're not supposed to agree with me, John.
I apologize, Jeff Sneider. Yeah, that because his scenes with Nick Nolte are some of the most powerful scenes you'll see between a father and a son. Some of those raw emotional scenes you'll ever see between a father and a son on screen.
All right. Well, just because you guys don't seem to be firing all your synapses, if you can't even name Tom Hardy movies you like, this is going to be a fun one. Neil Varma says, "What's the best film?"
Whoa, wait a
What's the-
second. Wait.
What just
What
happened?
is your Tom Hardy
Yeah,
movie, Marc
don't
Ellis?
cop out.
You're not just getting off of
Yeah.
this one.
I was going to take Locke.
Locke? You just think Locke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the best performance, and I wasn't going to say Warriors. I didn't want to tie it with Sneider, and then he took Locke.
But is that how you feel, though?
It is,
Warrior?
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
so we're right.
Like the most rewatchable Tom Hardy movie, probably Warrior.
Yeah.
But Locke is such like how if I tell you you're going to watch a guy in a BMW for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And it
gonna
doesn't
be a
feel like a
special
BMW commercial.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like an interesting narrative. It's an impressive movie, man.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
yeah, and I
Okay.
like Tom Hardy.
All right, Neil.
All right, thank you. Neil Varma says, "What's the best year of the '90s as far as movies go?" So if I give you a year in movies,
It's easy.
98.
okay,
Yeah.
you going with Private Ryan, Shakespeare in Love year? What else did you like that year? Thin
Fell
Red
in love
Line.
for the first time ever in my life that year. So this is good. It's a good year.
Okay, well, we're going to stick it with movies, but
I'm just saying it's a good year, and it's a good year of movies. So yeah.
My
the year
favorite
he
movie
gave
in
up
'98, I think, was American History X.
What year was that?
I think it was '98.
98. Yeah.
I'd go '99 though. '99 was obviously just a year that just spun Hollywood on its head. American Beauty being John Malkovich, Fight Club, the list is endless. So I go '99.
yeah, I'm going to go 1993 because I'm thinking about the movies that came out, and Jurassic Park came out that summer, and that revolutionized blockbuster cinema as we know it. You had Schindler's List. Come out, I believe that won Best Picture. The Fugitive, really good movie.
Yep.
And who could forget? I believe it was nominated for Best Picture. Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target.
Oh,
Don't
gosh.
hunt what you can't kill. Movie changed my life. So I'm going to go 1993. It's my favorite movie year. All right, let's do one more that's a little bit easier to answer. And here you go. All right. Anthony Shanna, by the way, saying his favorite sports movies are Rocky, Caddyshack, and Mighty Ducks.
Rocky's great.
2. He says
Mighty Ducks 2, D2, huh?
All right.
Interesting.
I would throw Creed in there. Creed could fight
There's
right
so
now
many
for the
good ones.
top one of the top sports movies ever.
Okay. Jamie Anfuego, last question, says, with this awesome news, and all caps awesome, about the Sandlot prequel, would you dudes be down for a reboot of the Mighty Ducks? And they're suggesting Pacey from Dawson's Creek coaching a new team in conjunction with the drug diversion program. Now, what's the deal with Pacey in Dawson's Creek? Was Pacey in the Mighty Ducks, or are they just a big Dawson's Creek fan?
Yeah, he was Charlie Conway.
Joshua Jackson was?
Yeah, you
Okay.
don't know that, Morales?
No, I see he's on The Affair. He's pretty good on that show.
Yeah, he
so.
is. He's good on that show.
Yeah, he looks like he's got some demons on that show, so maybe he's got some things in his past when he comes to the Mighty
You
Ducks.
think this guy just randomly brought up Joshua Jackson's name?
He's in the lexicon, man.
This is not one of those films that falls into the pit with me. Mighty Ducks. Whatever.
No, do you want to reboot it then? Can we reboot it? Or?
I would have to care about the film first to reboot it. So I never liked any of those films. So it's not my ticket.
Okay, Jeff, you are really between a rock and a hard place because you would have to agree with Rocha and say never remake it, but it's because you love the movie so much. Or is there a movie that you love, like the Mighty Ducks, that you still think would be fair to get the reboot treatment and maybe even win you over all over again?
Here's the thing. I think you do reboot the Mighty Ducks, but you don't do hockey. I think you change. I think you change.
There's literally an NHL team called the Mighty Ducks.
Well, yeah,
Well, not
I know.
anymore.
And maybe there'll be a Ducks soccer team if they do soccer. I don't know, but I think you'd have to change it from hockey.
To baseball.
No, definitely not. I think either soccer or basketball is the way to go.
Basketball's possible.
Like the Mighty
I'm down
Ducks
with that.
with basketball. Why can't you do that?
I'm down with that.
All right, put your hands in. Everybody quack on 3. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Collider Movie Talk. We will be back at our new time, 4 p.m. PST. And don't forget about that Collider Town Hall. A lot of interesting questions, a lot of cool announcements, whole lot of good stuff. Tune in live to the Collider Town Hall hosted by me. All the Collider bigwigs are going to be here. Do not miss it. That is Jeff Sneider. That is John Rocha. I'm merely Marc Ellis, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one, everybody. Hey everybody, Marc Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.